Okay, I know this Project for Awesome video is really late, but I really wanted to put it up regardless of whether or not it qualified or mattered or whatever. Hopefully it matters. Believe it or not, snow actually prevented me from getting this up on time. I know that sounds weird, but I don't have time to explain. Anyway, I decided to do my video on Invisible Children because it's a really great organization. The problem is that I don't know a whole lot about it. I've done stuff with them before, but I don't know a whole lot. However, I have a really good friend at school who works with them. She started a club at our school, and so I just kind of put her in front of a camera and let her talk. And you'll see, she filled up quite a bit of time.
So, Invisible Children, the best way to explain it is that it is an amazing nonprofit organization that helps the children in northern Uganda. So how did it get started? Well, these three boys, they had just graduated college, Bobby, Laren Poole, and Jason. And they decided they wanted to take an end-of-the-year celebration trip, and they decided to go to Africa. And after about a week or two of being there, they couldn't find anything interesting until they stumbled upon this woman named Jolly Okot. I'm really bad at pronouncing her name, but she told them about the war in northern Uganda. And see, what happened is for, I'd say about 25 years now, there's been a civil war going on in northern Uganda, and it is against the LRA, the Lord's Resistance Army, which is led by Joseph Kony. The LRA is against the government. And the huge problem is that the LRA and Joseph Kony's rebel army is actually abducting children and forcing them to fight. And usually he abducts children between about 5 and 12 because that's a really easy time for him to brainwash them, as well as they can carry a gun. They're big enough to carry a gun. And they're not going to try and run away because they're frightened and they're children. And these boys, they met the children that had been affected by the war. And it just inspired them and moved them. And so before they left, the children asked them, "Are you going to forget us? Please don't forget us." And they promised they wouldn't forget them. So they came back and they started Invisible Children. It was about 2000, 2001, and since then it's just grown and grown and grown, and they've done so much good. And you can get their full story at www.invisiblechildren.com. So once you've decided to visit this website, and I'm sure you will, you can do things like buy shirts and bracelets. By the way, this is one of the shirts. And what's so great about the bracelet is that it's actually an entire campaign. These bracelets are made in Uganda by people who don't have jobs. And so you're employing the people in northern Uganda. You sell the bracelets over here in America, and then all the money goes back to the people involved in Invisible Children. And this great DVD comes with it. So a new thing they do, aside from the bracelet campaign, is a purse campaign. And it's the same principle. And with every purse that you buy comes the story of one of the women who makes the purses. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. Another war in Africa, and more children, and give me money, and oh my gosh, it's the same story all the time. But it's not, because Invisible Children is focused on making Uganda a better country, basically. Or not a better country, but the country that it should be, and helping the people live up to their standards. Invisible Children doesn't just give the people of Uganda money or try and help them in any little way they can. Heck no. They want something to change. So they are over there building schools and trying to give these children the education that they deserve and that they need, because these children are the future of Uganda. And if they are the next politicians and the next teachers and doctors and lawyers and mothers and fathers, they can make the difference. Schools here in America, or anywhere in the world, start a club for the children in northern Uganda. Schools here raise money for schools there. And basically, as a Schools for Schools club, you can do anything you want. Bake sale. Change for change jar. Car wash. Start a Facebook group. Benefit concert. That's all I can think of right now, but I'm sure you're much more creative than I am, and you'll think of a lot more. And you basically just raise the money and send it to them. Okay, so I had mentioned before that Invisible Children does a lot with the media. It's one of their things. They actually focus very, very heavily on this. One of the things that they do is they have an event every couple of years, and the event has to do with the biggest issue in northern Uganda. They announce the event through their website, invisiblechildren.com, And they have videos, and they send you emails if you're on their email list. And the first event they had was called the Global Night Commute. And this had to do with when the children were night commuting from their village and into town, from town to their village, back and forth. The night commuting stopped. However, the way they solved it was by putting all of these people in displacement camps, which at first seems fine, except you're forcing these people to leave their homes, and then on top of that, the conditions were not good. The government soldiers taking care of them were not good either. And so, Invisible Children had another event a couple of years later called Displace Me. The displacement camps to this day they're still there, but they're much fewer, and people are being sent home, and it's safer. And you can look up all of that online. I'm just giving you the gist of it. And the third one they had was the rescue. I went on the rescue, and it was incredible. It was about 177,000 people in 100 different cities all over the world. I mean, all over the world. And everyone abducted themselves. And the whole thing was that you were not allowed to leave until you were rescued. So we got there, I believe it was Saturday, and didn't leave till Sunday. But we were one of the lucky ones. We were one of the last 14 to be rescued. Chicago didn't get rescued for a week, but Oprah Winfrey rescued them. So this past May was actually a really big deal for Invisible Children in northern Uganda, because everything that we did in the rescue and everything that led up to all of that media attention actually led to, first of all, it led to over 200,000 people signing for a citizen's arrest warrant of Joseph Kony. And it also led to the LRA Disarmament and Northern Uganda Recovery Act. Money-wise, if you're worried about that, you don't need to be. I don't fully understand it, but I do know that there's a certain amount of money set aside in our government for that kind of stuff, and that's the money that'll be used for this. One thing that people don't know is that, well, really, they just don't know about the whole war, which is so mind-blowing to me, because it's so huge. It's been going, I'm 21. It's been going on longer than I've been alive. How I've never known about it, I don't understand. Mind blown. To give you an idea of how big a deal it is, I don't know if it was last Christmas or the Christmas before, I can't remember, but about a year or two ago, the morning of Christmas, while we were all waking up and opening our presents and enjoying our time with our family, Joseph Kony struck again. He had been kind of in hiding for the past couple months. Nobody had really heard anything from him, but that morning he abducted children. I don't remember how many were abducted and how many were killed, but about 600 people were affected by this. And it was in the Congo this time. He's not just in northern Uganda anymore. This is spreading. And the fact that one man has that much control and can do that much damage and nobody does anything about it, something has to be done. These children should not have to live in fear like this. And what's so amazing is that they're still so full of joy and hope because people care about them. And that's really what it's about. It's caring about them, you know? All creatures, big and small. The thing that I love about Invisible Children, though, again, they're not just giving these people and these children money and food. They're giving them jobs with the bracelet campaign and the purse campaign, and they're giving them an education and a future and hope. And that's so important, and they're very dedicated, very committed. You have some amazing people working with this group. It's something at least worth looking into. You know, get your dog an Invisible Children shirt for Christmas, you know?
Alright, so that was Rachel Fleetwood, everybody, talking to us about Invisible Children. Sorry if it was a little slow. I think she's grand at words. Anyway, yay, Project for Awesome.